Hey guys, welcome to LG Overdrive. This is week 6 and episode 6. I am the host, the Young Buck. With me today, I have a Salty Sailor. Also with us, we have Dudley Do Right.
Ah, yes. Hello, I am back. Woo!
With us as well, we have Fourth Line Worthy.
What up?
Returning, we have Notorious Fat.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
And last but not least, we have I'm Faces.
Hello.
Ooh.
Nobody likes him. Alright, we're going to kick it off right away. We're going to send it over to Dudley, the teams that are hot, and he's going to be doing Wilkes-Barre Scranton, who went 7-1-1 this week.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm looking at the part of the schedule that they had here, and they beat a lot of good teams. They did. They beat. I'm sorry, Fourth. They beat your team. They gave it to Cleveland 3-2, and it just seemed like they were just on a roll after that. And I'm looking at a lot of the players here, and it just seems like they're all picking up the slack, and they're actually just playing with each other. Not in the sense of what you think, but none of them really stand out. They're just playing well. And I gotta give Hilly and Datsuki and Deke a lot of the credit. Mainly Datsuki and Deke. Hilly sucks. I'm kidding. But they actually surprised me this week. I honestly didn't think they would go 7-1-1. I honestly thought this team was dead in the water, but I guess they just kept going with it, and they actually turned out to have a pretty decent week at 7-1-1. The crazy part is that whole division, they're only fourth after that. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's gonna go down to the wire, honestly. I think so. They're looking pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Some of their ECUs were really good this week, though. They kind of used their ECUs like Mantha. He's an NHL defenseman. You put him in a lineup, and that changes the team big time. You got someone in the back end you can trust, and that seems to be the biggest issue, right? His defense. Not taking away credit from them, but it's just kind of like, I hate that, dude. It's like, I don't know if you guys do, but going into a game and you guys lose because there was ECUs in there, it's just.
Also got to give credit to their goalies. I mean, Joe and Lars Bone. It seems like they did a lot of work for them this week too.
Yes,
Joe's
he
a good
did.
goalie.
Fire.
Loves Bonaire.
So
Love the guy.
Alright. Next, I'm going to send it over to teams that were not hot this week. I'm going to send it over to Fourth Line, who's going to start with Bridgeport, who went 0-3 with 6 forfeits on top of that.
Yeah, they're terrible. They were terrible all season long. But I'll tell you one thing. Faces quitting is a little bit of a shock to me just because I don't think he's ever built a really good team. So,
Racialized quits every season he's management, to be fair.
but
It's true. It's like
why would
putting
you management again?
like putting Phil's back in management. It's not going to work out.
And to me, it's like one of those teams where I think the management was afraid to make moves, even though they should have just made moves because he couldn't get any worse. But he just every time I just feel like he's one of those managers that overvalued his players kind of thing and was never trying to fix his team because he didn't care. And you almost look back at it I feel like Lang would almost been a better choice because he has seasons like this but sticks around. Now you got 2 weeks left or 3 weeks left, and you're gonna play them, and people aren't gonna sign up for those games because they're gonna not want to play them because they're gonna be forfeit wins. But they're a mess. They're terrible.
I think the thing about that's really strange too is that Facialized had just gotten the team back together. They were getting above 500 weeks 3 weeks in a row, and then boom, he's gone.
Yeah, and then it's like Riddler's gone too because that's his boy, and I almost feel bad for Penn's Crosby a little bit just because they got a team together for Cleveland, like Penn's Crosby did, so he might have been in the 3 games because he doesn't want,
Yeah.
What hurts them more is that New York also took Meester and somebody else too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It seemed like ELE was taking his players all season long.
As soon as he quit, they was like, "Oh, your best players. See you later. They're coming up. Bye. Forfeit the rest. I don't give a fuck."
yeah, I don't understand why teams do that. It seems like Bridgeport always seems to be kind of cursed. Every season, at least I remember, Bridgeport has never really been.
Season 25, I think they were good.
Yeah, but how, I mean, every
That
every
wasn't
time I
Lang's
think
team.
about it, Bridgeport's always bad.
No, it wasn't
It
25. It was
always
like
seems,
24, 23. It
Oh,
had
23, yeah, with like
and
the guy QC.
they had Kirito and
it all well, he was a cheater, but it always seems to fall. He's a weird guy. It always seems to follow the same trend when it comes to the way these teams are, and it seems it happens a lot to Bridgeport, Iowa, Rockford on some occasions, with the exception of this season. But what it is, it's like this. It's the
It's Lang.
owners pick,
Literally Lang. All those teams you named
Literally
were all
Lang.
Lang's.
owners pick bad management, and then the team falls apart. Then the NHL takes players from the AHL, and then they go, "What the heck is going on?" Because no one knows what the hell they're doing. That always seems to be the case, and that was the case with Bridgeport this season again. I don't understand why this keeps happening. There are competent people out there who can actually manage a team, and
Well, that goes back to last season where the owner of the New York Islanders was a complete dickhead, fucked the team over, got rid of all their assets. Brendan Bomanti,
oh, jeez.
ring a bell?
yeah.
No picks this season. No assets. Nobody wants to play in that organization anymore. Like, great start. It's like a Sakic all over again.
That is probably the only team that would benefit from a whole reset of the league.
And Syracuse.
Idiots, just idiots.
Yeah. I'm gonna send it back to the good side and another hot team this week over to Salty Sailor. He has Charlotte, who also went 7-1-1 this week.
They did go 7-1, and one of that overtime loss was against Wilkes-Barre, who Dudley covered. And by the looks of their schedule, they didn't really play a whole lot of tough teams. 4 of their 9 had records. My computer will load here. They're another one, as Dudley also mentioned, that were 7-1 and still in 4th place in the division. They unfortunately are in the same division as Rockford and Cleveland, so they most likely won't compete for 1st or 2nd place.
Just putting it nicely, I guess. Yeah, that's a nice I guess.
Unless,
His beard for birds.
anything just have to win their next 28
games.
Completely doable.
Yeah, it's doable for
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
You gotta believe.
In 28 now is not out of the impossible there. They did beat Providence and Hershey, of noteworthy. And
Fair enough.
from the looks of their roster, Volcom looks to be a good addition since being sent down. And I don't know much about Luffer, but they're the only 2 that are hot on the roster.
The 2 Frenchies.
Yeah, the twos players.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Salty. We're going to head over to Faces with another team that's not hot, who is Toronto, 2-7 this week. Faces, take it away.
This is very simple. Before the season, and actually right now on Toronto's roster, they have 2 players who have played in the AHL before. That whole team is fresh out of the CHL. So it's not a shock, really, to be honest with you. They have one good line of CHL players, and it's Casey, who mostly everybody knows now, Horton, and Sports Freak. And Casey basically carries that line from the games I've seen.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't play good teams. They've played like 3 of the top teams, so it's not surprising. They've played like Bridgeport over and over. They've played San Jose. They've played Texas, so it's not – they're just getting guaranteed points, basically. But it's a recurring theme. They're all CHL players. They were trying to come up because Jerome thought his CHL team was better than everybody else and whatever. Like before the season, he was like, "I'm so good. Look at my CHL stats," and he's not in the league anymore. Surprise.
Yeah.
The pity that line actually did play all 3 on Thursday, and they went 1-2, having played San Diego, Texas, and San Jose.
Exactly.
And
So
I guess they beat San Jose.
They did, yeah. And in those 3 games combined, they only managed to score 8 goals as a team.
Exactly. Like that's why they play all the shitty teams. Like, hang on, I'll actually pull it up right now. Fuck, I just had it.
It's funny you talk about CHL guys because he was really pestering me about a guy I had in my CHL, and I'm thinking, why does he want every week? This guy's asking me, Druan or Jerome, whatever the heck his name is, always asking me about this one guy. He didn't really
Fired.
stand out much, and he just kept asking for him. Like, the guy's okay, but he didn't really stand out much, and not even in CHL either. I don't know. I don't understand his angle. It was strange. It was really strange.
He just
Yeah, I've
likes the way he
noticed all
smells.
the I
Likes
have
his scent.
prospects in my training camp, and the CHL kids are just asking for the nonstop, and they're giving me veterans or they're helping me get roster players from them. I'm like, yeah, by all means,
Yeah, I know.
make your friend. Like,
Yeah,
he's all yours.
tell me about it. Jeez.
All right. We're going to move on to players that were hot this week. I got to cover one for Ristolainen, who's currently on his way back from the hospital. First one was a forward. It was this guy, 27 or 37. He is one of Utica's TC prospect players who went first overall this week, 3-0 with 17 points. Salty, actually, do you want to talk about that player, how you found him, and obviously?
Well, I can't remember which team I got him from off the top of my head right now.
San
That is
Antonio,
one of-
probably.
Yes, that's what it. Yes, now they say that it was San Antonio. He's actually one of Gilbsy's Nylander X29 previous gamer tag. One of his real life cousins told me to grab him, so I picked him up and needed to use him, and the rest is history from there. He had 9 points in his first 4 games total over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Had
Yes, he did.
17.
Yeah, he did. He won against San Antonio, won 7-4, had 6 points and a +1. 8-5 against Ontario, had 6 points and a +2. And then he won 6-0 against Stockton with 5 points and a +3. So even though he had 17 points, he still only had a +6. But still, for a prospect, that's not bad coming into ECU for a week. I'm going to send it over to Notorious, the goalie of the week. He had Ego Killer from Hershey, who went 5-1.
Just to clarify, you're not calling me the goalie of the week, are you? Because that would be incorrect. All right.
No, I'm not. I'm calling him now.
So Ego Killer 43 plays with the Hershey Bears. Had a really nice week, going 5-1. Had a nice 82.1 save percent and a 1.62 goals against average. I actually talked about him in my studs this week in the Life in the Cage article. Really nice week. Hershey overall had a really good week as well. They went 8-2. So they're consistently playing well right now, which is good. Ego though had some nice victories. They were going through West Central. He beat Rockford, he beat Cleveland, got the Wild, Milwaukee, and the Moose. Beat all them. His only loss, I think was mentioned already, was to Charlotte. He lost 4-2 to them. But through all that, he managed to pick up a shutout as well. So you could tell he had a pretty good week.
No, for sure. And then our last player of the week, this was my player, defenseman of the week, another TC player coming from Wilkes-Barre. Granted, I don't consider him a TC player. It's Mantha. He went 3-0 this week with 3 points. Mantha is a known NHL defenseman, currently owning a CHL team. I completely find is ridiculous, figuring that they don't allow NHL management to manage AHL teams, but they allow them to manage CHL teams. But this guy, obviously known defenseman, and this week seeing a TC forward and a TC defenseman winning players of the week for each position is kind of different to see, but pretty cool at the same time.
We would have saw it last season if whatever team had Alexei Kovalev used him.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's an old name.
Yeah.
He was in the CHL last season as a random assignment veteran, and the AHL team refused to use him.
Is he even still around? I mean, does he even play games?
He just doesn't play summer season.
Okay. Figures.
So last season, yeah, he was all around in the chat box. Faces kept talking him up and saying, use us, use him.
Of course, when does Faces not talk someone up in the chat box? Come on, it's like that.
Kovalev deserves it. He's one of the best players to play the game.
Yeah, he is. Moving on now, we're going to actually talk about what happened until they stopped 10.
Oh, jeez. Oh gosh. Okay.
We all
All
know
right.
we love Dudley's top 10.
Okay, as you know, this is pretty much a rip-off of Letterman's segment, yada yada yada, this, that, and the fourth. I don't think it's very funny, but laugh if you feel like it. Okay, so this is now. Normally, people come to us and say, "Hey guys, maybe we can see if we can make the AHL media so much better. I have some suggestions." So I figured, to those people, here are 10 suggestions to make AHL media better for you, the viewing public. You.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so strap yourselves in, wake the kids, phone the neighbors. This is going to be the best thing ever. Drum roll, please.
No.
Thanks. All right, top 10 things the AHL media will do to make the experience better for LG. Here we go. Number 10, Notorious OBESE will work out on camera to Tybo to shut the haters up, only to gasp for air after 5 minutes.
This is true. That is very true.
Number 9, Faces will do a favor for all of us and drink bleach.
I already did that after last playoffs.
Number 8, Eric E30 will offer you a free Kia if you watch him play and put him on the show.
He has to show up first.
Yeah, I know. Number 7, have Brody live stream his much needed English classes.
That one's savage.
Number 6, fourth line will give every 100th viewer a happy ending.
Oh.
Does it involve the fish tank?
Yes, it does. Number 5, Buck will come to your house. Buck will come to your house and clean your bathroom in the nude.
No one wants that.
Nah, no.
Number 4, and this one will probably get cut out, but I'm going to say it anyways. A salty sailor will show you how the machine that Dr. Kevorkian used worked. See, no one's going to get that. No one's going to understand it. If you don't know who Dr. Kevorkian is, look him up. Then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, number 3. This joke has been removed by Titus for not being funny. Number 2. AHL Overdrive will give you money to not make fun of faces. And the number 1 top 10 thing to make the media better for LG, we will live stream Funsley's prison cell and anger management classes.
Yeah, that Kevorkian. Yeah, no, that's good. You should cut that out. Yeah.
And this is what's gonna happen pretty much. So Funsley will see that. And he says, "Oh, get your freaking name out of your mouth," and then proceed to, I don't know, eat more hamburgers out of his prison cell. So
That is not a shocker at all. I mean, I thought number 1 was going to be Vadi taking 5 weeks to make an NHL media show. So
you see,
He's
Should've
barely
told
in
me
the
that.
NHL. Why would he make a media show?
Dude, it's that his media shows really laggy. Like, no disrespect, but it's like I couldn't really watch it very long because it just people would start talking, but the camera wouldn't change, and it would change that person. But then somebody else starts talking, and then go to that person like way too late, and it's hard to just follow.
well, you see, you have to understand something. Vadi probably uses technology Al Qaeda used in 2003. So
What the fuck, Dudley?
come on.
all right, so we're actually going to talk about a subject that I know Faces is going to like very much. It's the fact that we actually had a couple of managers quit this week, one of them being facialized, one of them being Drew and today.
Yeah.
So Drew, the GM of the Toronto Marlies, quit today after some savagery in the chat box that his owner did. I know Faces was there, I was there. I'll let Faces touch on it a bit.
The kid fed into it. It's his own fault. The savagery wouldn't have happened if he just shut up. But every time they said something, he instantly rebutted with something else. So if he had just closed the chat box, he would have been fine.
That's true. And what about like facialized? Like I said, he was doing really well, and then all of a sudden,
It
what do you
doesn't
got there?
surprise me either.
Wait,
That's
Dudley, what did you got
facialized.
there? I can't read it.
Holy moly, guacamole! I can't believe it.
Go back to Puerto Rico, I think.
Like, what's the purpose of quitting? What is the purpose of quitting, especially as we have 3 weeks left? I don't understand it. You can't buy your band back out. You obviously live for it enough to try to run a team, and just because your team sucked for 1 season, you're going to quit?
Yeah,
I'm the kind of guy that wouldn't quit anything. Like, I've been on some bad teams. I just don't want to quit. You know, there's
Right.
something to be gained out of everything, and
You know,
a certain amount of pride I take in taking my lumps and my beatings. You know,
I
just
mean, like I got
play it out.
outscored 20-2 this week in my 3 games. I had outscored 20-2 minus 16, and I'm still sticking around. Like,
yeah, I was there.
I know you were there.
It comes
You-
down to
Look at my
And
goal
then-
points average.
it comes down to fucking they're picking shitty people to GM again. Like it's just like
we
being
touched on
Letty.
this though.
We
touched
did.
on this a couple weeks ago, and I think it's because it's summer season. There's not a lot to choose from. You know, if anybody showed any sort of interest, it's like 2:30 at the bar, right? Any girl that's showing you a little interest, like, yeah, well, that's good enough. You know, so there was a lot of ugly girls left over to run teams, and some of those girls got picked. You know, good for them, I guess.
How about
And
the
the
fact
this was born.
the fact that the Germaniac is now the GM of the San Jose Barracuda?
Yeah, listen, all this comes down to is the league has to start patrolling and looking at people's past and their shit in other leagues. Like we talked about this with Letty. He quit 4 times in NLGE as a freaking manager. He wasn't going to last the season here. Facial Eyes, he's quit so many times before. He wasn't going to last the season. Drouin, he's a little bitch. Like
Straight up, just a little
so-
bitch.
He's just a little bitch. There's just so many things that were going to go wrong. Like
I don't think the NHL has this problem, to be honest. I feel like this problem is solely exclusive to the AHL.
Oh no, this NHL's got this problem.
NHL has this problem because the NHL has all the
okay,
egotistical people.
Let's rewind it for a little bit. I think when I came back and signed up in season 22, when I played with Faces, unfortunately,
Character.
they had a better system in place to pick management, and it seemed like that season was incredibly competitive in terms of the people.
was.
actually
I
showing
can
up to
tell you
play.
exactly why that system got derailed because people, I think it was Sweet Lou actually complained that he couldn't pick somebody to manage for him because they didn't have experience and the league kept saying no and screening that person. So Titus and
So
Brody
what?
just said
Deal
fuck
with
it. Yeah,
That's
but
not,
he started.
That's not our fault.
One
you know?
owner started a landslide of owners just messaging Titus and Brody and freaking out. So Titus and Brody just said, "Fuck it, it's not worth the headache. You're all
So
just
pretty
gonna
much
bitch."
the only way to get our way is just to sit and complain the whole time instead of actually
That's
resolving things like that.
LG
Come on,
for
that's
you.
ridiculous.
Seems to work.
It
You know?
works.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the AHL is when you go into management, everyone thinks that you're going in and you're going to have the best team. As soon as it doesn't pan out that way, you kind of crash and burn. With the NHL, it's different, right? Like you're owning to become who can go the farthest in a playoff run until you lose to Winnipeg or San Jose. You kind of know you're not going to win the whole thing. But in the AHL, everyone's got this bright mind that they know how to run a team. They come from the CHL, which they can get away with anything, where there's so many teams that you look like pretty decent, you know, and then you come to the AHL, there's only 30 teams and you don't know anybody, no one wants to play for you, and you get shit on.
You know, I kind of agree with you, Evan, but the part I think where it starts to fall apart is right after guys are done drafting their team, because that's the fun part, right? How many guys do fantasy drafts, do this
It's
kind of
the
stuff because
draft
they
and
just
the
want
bid,
to, let's see what I can do. And then when you get it and you stand back and look at it, okay, I did it, and now what do I do? You know, like all the fun is
other
gone,
thing
right?
That's ugly, and one of my biggest things for managing is I get the purpose of compensation, but I can't. When I'm like looking at trading, in my position, maybe even Faces being a top team, you can't even look at the bottom half teams to make trades with because you got to take the risk of them quitting. And if they quit just because their team's bad, you get that player back who's now banned, and you lose that player you wanted. You know what I mean? Like I get the point of the compensation, but it's just not really fair to the fact of how compensation works that way because I can't control someone quitting.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's like the same for like my team. We're a middle pack team. Like we can basically only trade with higher tier teams over at the middle because
Like
as soon as you
being a
trade
bubble
with someone like just below us, like fourth place, someone's gonna quit. Like
if like this is like I'll just use like let's just say Sweet Lou. I'll just use like a name so it doesn't seem anything weird, like Batty and Sweet Lou. Like if I had Sweet Lou but Batty was this stud and I had Sweet Lou but this team that was terrible had the stud Batty and they offered him to me for the playoff push and I gave him like, you know, Sweet Lou and a draft pick, that trade goes down, but because we were the best team, now you're going to a shit team, that player's gonna quit. And then Batty goes back, you lose that draft pick, and then you got to give compensation.
That's
But
why
what my team is right now, you almost can't do anything.
That's
funny.
why I traded all our head cases early. As soon as I found out they were a head case, I shipped them off
But
right
it's
away.
it's not even like the head cases. They don't even like.
Oh no! Every
It's-
guy I've traded in the last whole season, this whole season, like Sycamoose, I traded him to St. John's. He was like, "Damn, okay."
Well, yeah, those
Yeah.
people. Like I'll never be a dick and just trade someone to a bottom feeding team just because usually they're just mad because there's like no one there that's like worth anything. But it's kind of like it's not really fair that might happen.
No, it's the compensation system's flawed, but that's just because
Absolutely, I agree.
they have to take the power
And then
away
they
from
can
the
buy
players.
themselves back.
Yeah, and then they
and-
go right back to you. It's stupid. I think that if somebody quits that season or refuses to play, they should be gone for 3 seasons.
Absolutely.
No buyout.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that either.
It's getting to the point where people are just like, oh yeah, turn me to a bottom team. I dare you. You do it. They just quit, buy it out, and they're back on your team, and they just fucked you over because they're in the training camp.
It seems like we had a couple of incidents the last couple of seasons that pretty much got the attention of everyone in terms of compensation and how that's supposed to be working. Because I noticed a lot of discussion of it after a while, but it doesn't seem like anything really changed. Really, I mean, especially the situations that happened with me a couple seasons ago with some compensation deals, and at the end of the day, you just feel like you get the shaft. Really, you know.
Basically, every time I've been kind of put in a compensation thing, I just tell them to reverse the trade because there's no point in me giving up another player.
That's what I mean though. But then you're out of a player.
Yeah, but if I give them another player, that player quits.
Yeah,
boom.
I know. I get that. I get the whole compensation thing. That's what I do too. Faces. I don't even like fuck them. Here's your player back. You can have your player now that just found out you just traded them. So enjoy that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I'm just like, here you go. I'll see this player next week. Whatever.
there's gotta be a fucking. But there's nothing like I'm sure if there was an idea of like how to like lower that, there would be. But I don't think.
No, the only way to do it is just start handing out 3-season bans for players that do that you can't buy out. Like that's bottom line. Period.
Yeah.
There's all like it's just silly.
I mean, and piggybacking off of a couple of things there, like fourth, we discussed a trade a couple weeks ago. Yeah, like and the guy I offered you wanted, and the guy you were offering in return, I had hinted that, what's the likelihood of him actually going to play for me since I was a sub 500 team then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the end of
That's
that.
what I mean, right? Like, I don't know how you can go about it or how it can ever change, but it's just like deadline is just a matter of thing of like, oh yeah, this trade makes sense, but you're like, oh, can we really do it because they're gonna quit.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Right.
trade I've talked about this deadline, I'm just like, okay, but if this guy quits, I have no training camp players left. I've traded them all to
Yeah.
load my team up. I don't know what I'd do.
Like, okay, going into that now, it's trade deadline. Obviously, every team's making moves. But are we actually trade deadline like for actual roster players, or now are we just trading to load up our TCs with amateurs and veterans so that way we have guys to use for the playoffs if we need to?
And that's what the league said before. I think it was when JJR was a manager, and their team
Springfield,
had
season
not
25.
their team had not a single amateur in the training camp, so they forfeited every game.
Yeah.
And they said it was because he didn't trade for any amateurs before the deadline. Nobody wants to trade their amateurs for prospects. Not a single team wants to do it except for the CHL teams this season. But even then,
Yeah, but like again, what can we do? Like we need to load up our teams with amateurs because what if our guy doesn't show up in the playoffs? We can only use him once per round and 2 max per playoffs.
exactly.
Like I think that rule needs to loosen up a bit because the amount especially for summer season with the amount of no-shows that we do get.
I would like to see it that if a player has played 15 plus games in the CHL that season, because if it's a second tag, you're not going to sit there and play 15 games in the CHL. So if they play 15 games like an ACU in the AHL playoffs or something along those lines.
Yeah. But like, another one, like, is it really trade deadline, or is it more a matter of like setting a roster up with your NHL, like just a constant up and down? Like, I've noticed there's a lot of that more than there is like any big trades.
I'll say for sure, at least in my instance, for me, what this weekend is for me is that I'm on the edge right now with my team, and we are about a good week away from having a good run. So my mindset coming into this week is trying to see the best roster that I can field in order to see if I can get a decent run. So at least for me, my mindset going into this weekend is, holy crap, I have to make some changes. There's other people, and it seems like there's a lot of different mindsets along with that. People are coming to me asking me for either a ton of TC players or a ton of my roster players because they think I'm out of it. But there's a lot of different mindsets going into this weekend, and my mindset is just got to make my main team better because we're not that far out, and I had to make some drastic, big moves, at least in my view. So there's a lot of different perspectives going into this weekend.
See, that's exactly like my thing. Like, I'm trying to make my team better because we're in the playoffs, but it's such a bad division. It's so tight that, like, I need to make specific parts better, and I got to worry about my NHL team, who's also fighting for the playoffs, trying to help them get better as well, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the whole make sure you don't get fucked over, make sure they don't get fucked over, because then if they get fucked over, we're going to get fucked over. Like, there's so much to go along with it. And then having to worry about compensation, people not showing up.
ECUs for playoffs.
ECUs for playoffs, people going on
problem
vacation
is-
at this point in the season because it's the end of the summer or midsummer.
It just kind of sucks for like deadlines for teams that are like completely out because there's teams that are even still trying to be like, yeah, I'm still trying to make playoffs, even though they realistically don't have any chance of making them. But draft picks mean nothing to them. It's just our deadline's not as fun as like the NHL is, where you gotta. Like, if I'm an owner in the NHL and my team sucks, you just load up on draft picks.
Oh, again, yeah. Every time I've had that third round draft pick for like 2 weeks, and every time I go to someone like, yo, third round draft pick, and this guy, they're like, I don't need a draft pick. I'm like, okay, see you later.
They don't want to stick around. That's what I mean. Like if you click on LGHL and you click news, it's crazy what you can get for a third round pick and a second round pick, man. Because there's no numbers for them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I managed to trade like 2 TC players away today for 2 TCs and 2 picks. So
That was Wags. Wags has like 1 million picks.
he had 6 picks. I went and looked. And
He has like 6 first round draft picks on like so many seconds.
he gave me both his second round picks today that he had.
For players, he's never going to be able to call up because Squirter's a goalie. You don't want Squirter at goalie.
And so is Hofer, but he also has Dasuk and Taster that are draft picks that he could send down to Cleveland and use them.
I don't get the logic though, because they can only ECU.
Twice. They can only ECU twice in all of playoffs.
But that could also be a guaranteed 1 win, right?
That's a little insurance, though, right? If you need insurance, 2 games maybe all you need.
But
Right?
you also got to look at draft picks are basically useless next season. It's a brand new game. You don't know how kids that they get into CHL are going to do next season.
Well, the dynamic is always different between this time around during the summer season and when fall season comes around. It seems like it's a lot more hectic around this time of year in the sense that you have a lot of bottom feeders reluctant to let people go because they're afraid no one's going to show up, and then you have people who are trying to scramble to get things together, but they don't get the resources they want. Because let's be honest, the talent pool in the summer season is bad, and you could it's palpable. You can sense it. It's tense a little bit when you're trying to deal with people. They seem very apprehensive in a sense. So it just causes this strange feeling overall, really.
And this whole season, all the new GMs have like 3 good players, and they have 14 bad ones.
And most of those good players are the GMs and their AGMs themselves.
But they also, if they're not the GM or the AGM, they refuse to trade them. They'll be like, "Hey, I'll give you this guy who's like 1-9 and a -32 for your second line center," and you just laugh in their face because they don't want to give up their good players to better their team.
I'll tell you, some of the offers I've gotten for some of my players, I'm thinking just because I'm not in a playoff spot at the moment doesn't mean I'm waving the white flag right now. Come on, man. Got to do something better than that. Come on.
There are some teams that still think they have a chance, and I just laugh at them too.
Yeah, I'm normally pretty fair when it comes to trading, and some of the things that I get, I laugh at pretty hard. So that's just a notice for everyone who tries to make a stupid trade for me. I will laugh in your face.
That's the other thing is like everybody wants to win their trade, but if someone's not trading you, they won't make a fair trade.
Nope.
Yeah, people are worried about getting traded, right? Like, you always design a trade to be greatly in your favor because you're worried that
get kind of sketched out a little bit, right?
Right. If the guy you're trading with is too eager to accept, you're like, oh, did I just fuck up? Like, what did I do? I just fucked up. This guy took that trade right away.
No,
Those
I
were
totally-
those were basically all my trades this season. I was like, I want this guy.
Going
Like,
back,
send
to,
it.
going back to compensation, about how if someone quits right away or compensation, what's the difference between that and knowing somebody's going to only play 3 games and quitting and no compensation at all?
That player can play 1 game and there's no compensation.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I know I traded you. You're going to be mad, but like,
I also dislike that. Like, if you have to miss all 3 games to get removed. Like, no, if you play 1 game and you miss the other 2, you should still get removed. Like, that's why we got
Absolutely.
rid of Rapier for that exact reason.
Therein lies the gray area, you know. All you have to do is play 1 game, and then all of a sudden the trade can't be reversed. But then they play that 1 game, and then all of a sudden that is evidence for them to stick around, and they don't show up. So you're pretty much screwed.
Exactly. It's a silly, like, there's so many
Also-
loopholes.
I also have a new thing that just popped up in chat box. Example is Casey, who took AGM for Toronto, just posted in the chat box saying, if they don't let me out of my AGM responsibilities because I only took to help Jerome, it will have been nice knowing you, LG. Terry got rid of Jerome for fighting for our AHL team so he could try to be successful.
I told you that earlier. I told you Casey took GM yesterday. Drouin like begged him to take AGM so Terry can move him, and then Drouin just up and quits. Like they should absolutely let that kid out of his AGM contract. It sucks for that kid. He could be on any team in the fucking league right now.
Yeah, but
He's
apparently
good
you're
enough.
locked into it. So,
Yeah, it sucks because he's gonna quit now too, and there goes Toronto's season.
yep. It's unfortunate. It's a damn shame.
Yeah,
Like
no, it's,
Drouin not only fucked Casey, he fucked that whole team by quitting.
right. Do you guys have any standout trades though before we head out here?
There was yours. I mean, it's the only one from this week. Is yours.
Which one? The one with
The one with Bell and the training camp.
Yeah, so in that one I traded Cod Got Problems, Orange Chicken, and a TC player. I think it was How That Taste, and 2 second-round picks to Milwaukee and Nashville for the picks. For Bell, pay for 89 QC, and Swanner.
Swanner. 2 point, yeah.
Swanner, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Those are probably the picks you got from Cleveland, right?
One of them was from Cleveland. The other one was one that we already had because one of the picks is basically a third-round pick because it's Pittsburgh's.
Yeah.
Shout out to Swanner from Winnipeg. Yeah.
I would also just like, before I go, I want to give out a huge shout out to Chicago, Falcone, and Lazy. They're making a lot of trades. They're making a lot of good trades, I think, to help bolster their defense to try and see if they can keep a 4th spot in that Central Division. I know it's tough, but good
I've been
shout out to
thinking-
them. They're doing a lot of work.
The situation they caused themselves by trading away all of their good people to begin with.
Yeah.
They're sinking. They're sinking. And they're bailing hard right now.
But they're actually dealing with it. And I talked to them, and they're actually thinking about making a playoff push. So
Yeah.
good on them. They're not a Drouin. They're not going to roll over and die.
I'll say this, I guess, in terms of trades. As I'm sure everyone knows by now, I just traded Spads.
Yes.
I didn't really want to do it, but
What?
I didn't really want to
Spads.
trade him, but it came down to this. I love Spads, I do, and I'm not gonna talk bad about him. It's just that it didn't fit anymore, and I didn't get a lot of good offers for him. Not gonna lie, I didn't get a lot of good offers for him. So, I took I think I took a pretty decent deal from Providence to give my team a little push a little bit. because now I have to
Trade him
rearrange
to
mine.
Providence, you little
So, and I had made another deal for a defenseman with someone here in this party right now, just to kind of shake things up, I guess. So,
I feel like you really got undersold there, bud.
look, listen. In terms of what we were talking about, people not giving me what is a fair trade. I did the best that I could to try and get some kind of value in return for that, plus also clearing cap space for a potential bigger deal that I may work out. I don't know. So that's how I looked at it, and I do have, other forwards can pick up the slack. So
I'll put it in
Yes.
perspective for you. That guy lost to Drouin in net.
So everybody
That's
has
pretty hard to
a
do.
bad game once in a while. Faces. You of all people should know that.
I'm always
Hard to
great. I don't
agree.
know what you mean.
So
Proof
Yeah.
right here.
So, Salty, you haven't heard much from you tonight. Do you have anything to say before we head out?
Not really.
No?
My beard's
Good talk, buddy.
by the way, let's just before we go, let's just bring to attention, and I said this to them before we started, to this guy's suit right here. I said it before we started. It's pretty much like Don Cherry went to Saved by the Bell and threw up all over the place. Okay,
I mean,
it's a
he's
cool
not
suit
wrong.
though. I like it. I would wear that. I would wear that.
I
for the
wear
crap
it
out of it.
every trade deadline show. I have worn it in public. I have
Good.
gotten compliments. Yeah.
Good.
And, like, this is like my, like, go out and have fun suit. So, like, if I was going to, like, a party, like, with a fancier party, like school friends, I would wear this.
And you know the cool thing too is that you can wear that late at night, and all the lights will be able to pick up on it and reflect it.
I've worn it in a blacklight place, and, like, it all lights up. It's sick.
Oh,
So,
you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, no.
I don't
He was
care.
glow bowling.
I don't give a fuck.
You literally look like a fill-in-the-blank Rubik's Cube.
I'll take it.
I can't believe you have friends wearing that out with them. Oh man.
Oh man, you should see some of the stuff my friends wear though. Anyways, thank you guys all for listening to this week's episode of LT Overdrive.
Sorry, but guys, I just got some money in on my PayPal account. That was from Huddy. Huddy wanted a shout out. Thanks for the $5, Huddy.
No, don't do that.
You're
Stop. You're
$5.
terrible.
$5,
That kid is
man.
crazy. No.
$5
Gotta
is
pay
$5.
for this internet.
Gotta pay for the fruit snacks.
Fruit snacks and internet.
Huddy, man.
That shit ain't
Freaking
cheap.
Huddy.
All right.
Oh man.
We'll catch you guys next week for episode 7. Without further ado, have a great night, guys.